1,000 though.
And no cheap flops. But Steve, he's not going away. He quickly calls it.
So it's 76 trombones for Steve Paul Ambrose and a Jack 10 for David Singer. And notice Steve has flopped second pair. He's got 2 6s. He checks them.
And nothing hitting for David Singer. Raised before the flop.
And he's going to bet on the flop. That's 100,000.
Back over to Steve, who caught a little piece of this. And no, he's not going anywhere. He's made this call.
Well, notice the look he gave to David there before he made that call. He said, "You really have any of that?" I don't think so.
Okay, here comes the 4th street.
Well, a 4 comes off on the turn. Now this gives Steve a gut shot straight draw as well as the 2 6s, and he checks.
Yes, he does. He yields once again to David Singer, but David's checked as well.
Steve has got to feel like he's got the best hand right now. And we're off to the river. And the king comes off.
Still doesn't help David Singer.
Well, again, Steve checks. Well, David figures the only way he has a chance to win this pot is to bet at it. So he is reaching for chips. Remember, he only has Jack high.
What a professional veteran's move right here. Hitting nothing on the last card, but has the guts to bet this.
He is going for it. He's betting 325,000.
Does not want to give up the pot. You got to respect the nerve of David Singer.
Well, he is going to put the pressure on the youngster right here.
Can he blow the young player out of this?
What Steve is wondering is what's going on. I bet on the flop. He checked on the turn. Does he really have a king in his hand? Did he spike a king at the river to beat me here?
Steve looking over at the New Yorker, checking his man out. This would be a tremendous call if he should make it.
If you put the pieces of the puzzle together, you got to feel like the guy either hit the king or he has nothing.
That's exactly right, but there's no reason why he couldn't have hit a king. This is the ultimate game of smoke and mirrors. David Singer proving that, making a nice bet. Will it be successful?
Call.
He's made the call.
It's a great call by the young player.
Track high.
Devastating for David Singer. Ho.
He gives it the fist, and why not? A tough call, a very good call. I mean, David Singer tried to win that pot by betting at it. He got looked up by the youngster.
Saying, where'd you learn that, kid? Not an easy call to make.
Well, the crowd cheering, good call, and they're right about that. Tough call to make with third pair down there when it's 325,000 to you.
People have asked me what I'd do with the money if I win. Never really thought it would be possible, so I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it. I brought my mom, sister, and some friends. And they're all in the audience cheering for me. You know, it's a little embarrassing when you win a pot and they all start yelling and cheering. It's kind of fun. I enjoy it.
Tremendous poise by the 22-year-old.
And because of that, he's now our chip leader with nearly $3 million in chips. David and Brooke both sitting at around $2 million.
All right, back to the table on David Singer, stinging from that last hand. He's got ace, jack of diamonds this time.
That's a powerful hand in a three-handed poker game. See what David does with it.
The environmental lawyer, playing professional poker for 9 years. David Singer, a staple in the poker profession.
He's going to raise it. Comes in for 125,000 again.
And now Brooke Leiter, the man from Fargo. He's got king jack in the small blind. Another good starting hand.
He's going to make the call.
And the young man, Steve Paul Ambrose.
Well, he's got a 9-7 this time, Vince.
Will he speculate? Guy loves to see the flop. Here he is. He's going to make a call.
Well, he's going to call again.
Come the first 3.
Oh, lightning. Look at this flop.
Oh.
Steve has flopped a full house.
And Brooke quickly checks his hand. His fantasy time here for Steve.
175.
He's going to come out and bet it. Usually when you have a monster, you want to check that.
Especially to an aggressive player like a David Singer sitting on the button.
David is out. And now Brooke, nothing hitting on this flop.
What Brooke is thinking, Vince, is, would this guy really let out? You know, if that guy really had something, wouldn't he check it to David?
Yeah, you're thinking he would
I
never
don't think
bet
he's
it.
got anything. I think he's just making a move here.
Raise.
He's going to punch it up. He does not believe him.
175 more.
He's going to try to take the pot away from Steve. Little does he know, he's got less than a 1% chance to win this pot.
He's raised an additional 175,000. So the tactic of Steve actually going to work here. He's sucking his man in here.
And Steve just calls him. Doesn't want to lose him now.
Here comes the turn.
Oh, and the king comes on.
Oh, that could be a nightmare there for Brook because he hits his kings.
Vance, this is like deep sea fishing. You got the fish on the hook and he's just bobbing up and down out of the water.
Oh, man.
And you're reeling him in.
This could get very ugly. On Brook to act first. Can he slow down here? You hit your hand.
400.
He is going to bet $400,000.
According to the way he's thinking, that Steve would never lead out had he flopped 3 sevens.
What do you have left?
He doesn't put him on that hand.
1.2.
I'm sure he thinks his 2 kings are the best hand right now.
1.3 maybe. I'm all in.
And there it is. All in, he says.
And you see Brook, he doesn't like that 1 iota.
Everything backfiring for Brook. All on the assumption that this kid would not have bet if he had a 7 on the flop. So therefore, he sticks around, tries to take the pot, and then hits his card on the turn. It's just an ultimate nightmare.
Brook Leiter, his tournament life on the line right here. He makes the call. He's not drawing dead. He's got about a 5% chance to win. He can catch 1 of 2 kings that are left in the deck to win the pot, but those chances are slim.
I don't know if you would lead out with a 7.
You heard what he said, folks. I can't believe you'd lead out with a 7 there.
Well, he wouldn't. He had to have a 7-9, full boat. Fiancée Christy sweating her man out.
Well, he is wincing in pain, Vince. You can just see it.
Taking his time. You can't blame him.
I think you got a king. So do I.
See, he thinks he has kicker problems.
A good kicker.
That's the great deception. Even if he did have a king and a bigger kicker, wouldn't he have raised again before the flop 3-handed? That's what he's thinking through. Doesn't put him on a 7. Look at this great laydown.
Well, he does lay down the 2 kings.
Very solid.
And right now, he's lecturing himself as, why did I make the check raise on the flop? Why didn't I just throw it away?
The 22-year-old from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Massive chip leader with that one.
The beautiful Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas.
3 players remain. Winner's going to take home close to $1.4 million. But right now, Steve Paul Ambrose with about $4.3 million. David Singer in second with about $2 million. And Brook Leiter with about $1 million. And action's going to be on David Singer this time, looking down at 10-9.
Well, he's going to raise it on the button. Makes it $150,000 to go.
And now Brook Leiter from Fargo. He's got Queen Jack offsuit in the small blind. Nice lay down on that last hand. Got himself in that mess, but got away from it. So he still has a few chips, just under $1 million. He makes his call. And now our chip leader, Steve Paul Ambrose, he with King 9 offsuit.
Seems like he's won $1 million pots winning this 3-handed game, and he hadn't had over 10 high yet. It's going to cost him another $100,000 to make the call, but he does it. And again, David Singer raises on the button, and both players call him. This is a consistent theme here.
So a nice pot brewing. Let's see a flop.
The flop comes 9-6-4. Both Steve and David have flopped top pair.
Yes, they have, but David Singer with some kicker problems. Action on Brook first. Nothing hitting for him on this flop.
Well, he's checking.
And now Steve with the pair of 9s and the big kicker. He's going to check. He's going to try to trap here, it looks like.
He didn't try to trap with a full house. Now all of a sudden he's going to try to trap with a pair of 9s.
And David with the button in front. Very dangerous position. He's hit his pair of 9s.
Well, Vince, I can't imagine that he could possibly check this hand.
You would not think so.
You've got top pair. Your opponents have checked to you. You wouldn't want to give him a free card that could beat the 2 9s. And no, David is going to bet $325,000.
Yes, he is falling into the trap. Brook Leiter, nothing materializing for him.
And he does lay it down.
And now around to Steve.
How much do you have left?
Check top pair, and he says, how much you got, David?
1.5 maybe.
So I really want to break you, David.
He's got a great chance to do just that right here, Vince. Remember, Steve started this spot with well over $4 million in chips. So he's got him covered by a long shot. Nothing more he'd rather do than eliminate David Singer and take total command of this heads-up battle.
All in.
Well, it goes all in.
Yep, he's done it. He's check raised all his money. If you're going to call a raise before the flop with king 9, it comes 9-6-4. You got to go for it.
And now David looking like he was just hit by the old stun gun. His tournament life on the line with this decision.
Oh, Vince, I just can't imagine you can get away from this hand if you're in David Singer's spot. And I say that because his opponent had a chance to re-raise before the flop, sitting in last position. If he had a big pair, that's what he would have done. So you can't put him on an overpair in this spot.
I call.
Oh, he makes the call.
Well, David's making the call, so here we go.
He is in dire straits right now as they turn up the cards. What a position for the young 22-year-old Steve Paul Ambrose. The young kid absolutely thrilled by this.
Well, Vince, a few weeks ago at Borgata, David Singer came to the final table with a chip lead. It was a total nightmare that night. He went out in 6th place. Tonight, nothing great's happened for him either. He could go out in 3rd place here.
Now look at this. Brooke Leiter getting up from the table. The difference between 3rd and 2nd is over $250,000. He realizes that. He's saying, please, just have Steve's hand hold up. I'll make $250,000 more if David goes away.
David Singer's going to have to catch 2 running cards to make a straight or a 10 to take the lead here. Both players have a pair of 9s, but David is out-kicked. Steve Paul Ambrose, well over a 4-1 favorite to take down this pot and take total command of this tournament.
Here is 4th Street.
Well, an 8 comes off. Now, that does give David Singer a straight draw. Gives him 4 more outs, as we say. Any of the 4 7s would now win the pot for him, as well as a 10.
That is right. A few more outs for David Singer. A little more hope.
It's got to be a 10 or a 7. No other cards will do it for him.
He needs the big suck out. Otherwise, it is over from our man from New York, David Singer. River card coming up. Oh, he's caught it.
It's a 7. Oh! Vince, he's done it. He's hit lightning in the jar. He's made this straight on the river and captured over a $4 million pot.
And Steve could not even look at the river card. David Singer finally getting a little luck there. Sucks out on the river to take that pot. What a turn of events. It is now David Singer, our new chip leader.
A huge break for David Singer right there. And I know what he's thinking. You know, I'm due for a break at one of these final tables. Yeah. I finally got one.
Well, with that pot, we have a new chip leader, David Singer, with close to $4.2 million.
Vince, you could also say we have the man who's regaining the chip lead that he started this final table at.
That is true. And the antes and blinds going up once again. $10,000 antes, 40 and 80 blind. Let's go back down to the table on Brooke, the man from Fargo. Oh, wow, look at this. He's got a pair of kings wired.
2 kings on the button. You got to love it.
Just a tremendous starting hand.
150.
Well, he says 150,000, but he has to make it 160. You must at least double the size of the big blind if you're going to raise it. And that's what he's doing.
Nice raise into Steve. Now Steve also with a pretty good hand. Mid-pair, pair of 7s. Just took a hit the last hand.
Really saw Brooke make the minimum raise.
I raise.
Well, he's going to re-raise with the 2 7s. Brooke has got to be loving this.
Brooke is on the short stack. Started this hand with only about 800,000.
And he bets a cool $500,000.
David going out and over the top. Brooke says all in.
I call.
Well, Steve is pot committed here. He's going to make the call.
He has a great opportunity here for Brooke Leiter.
Well, remember back to the first hand at this final table, Vince. Steve took 2 7s. He cracked out. He shakes 2 8s and sent him home packing.
You can't do it twice.
Can he send the guy home with 2 kings with the same 2 7s?
Pretty amazing. He'll need to do it again here. Stay tuned. We're coming right back with the conclusion in just a moment. Brooke Leiter with a pair of kings up against Steve Paul Ambrose with a pair of 7s. Brooke is all in.
Well, Brooke about a 4-1 favorite to win this pot and double up to stay alive in this competition. And in back-to-back hands, it's possible Steve could double up David Singer and now double up Brooke Leiter.
Here comes the first
a king right on the flop.
Flops the set.
It's not over, though, because Steve could backdoor a straight or backdoor a flush, meaning he could catch 2 runners to make a straight or 2 running cards to make a flush. That's what he must do unless it comes 7-7.
Needs a couple runners. This could double up Brooke, and he could use it right now. Here comes the turn.
Well, the turn's a 9. That's going to do it. Steve is drawing dead, as we say. There's no card he can catch at the river to win the pot.
How much more is it?
So Brooke Leiter sits back down. He has doubled up.
A couple bad hands in a row for the 22-year-old Steve Paul Ambrose. He was the chip leader. Starting to bleed here a little bit.
He first doubled up David Singer.